Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Youth Engagement Awards of 2021. I'm so excited to have the awards event tonight and have our amazing guest speaker here, which she will be happy to speak in just a few minutes. First, as a privacy disclaimer, this virtual event is produced using Zoom video webinar and available to a virtual audience on youtube.com/Grande Prairie CA. To carry on with the event, we are going to have a welcome from our interim Mayor Clayton, if she would like to speak now.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Thanks so much. I apologize for my surroundings. I'm waiting to pick up my children as they are at the South Bear Creek Ballpark. But anyways, good evening, and thank you for everyone for joining for the Youth Engagement Awards. It's an honor to be here tonight and to bring greetings on behalf of my fellow council colleagues. We recognize that businesses and organizations supported by youth across the community are extremely important and will always be the future of what businesses are looking to engage with. As a young community, supporting and developing opportunities for our youth to feel safe, connected, and thriving is a vital continued vitality. Sorry, I apologize. Connecting with our youth is of a vital importance, and connecting with our community economically. If you did not know, our population at the average age of 31, 10% of our population is under the age of 5. We're grateful today for all the businesses and organizations that were nominated, as well as the youth who took the time to submit nominations. It's important to recognize today that not only are these awards organized by the Youth Advisory Council, so youth organized all this, which is so congratulations to all of you that organize this, but to the nominees and recipients who were submitted by youth as well. Tonight, we're also looking forward to enjoying our guest speaker, Keisha, as an inspiring young woman spreading her story of hope, resilience, and inspiration for all ages. The work of the Youth Advisory Council, the work they do in Grande Prairie, including this evening's event, continues to make Council proud. Congratulations to the evening's recipients, and thank you to all the Youth Advisory Committee for planning tonight's event. Enjoy your evening, everyone, and congratulations again.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to continue in just one moment. All right, sorry about that little pause there. Thank you so much for speaking, Interim Mayor Clayton. I would like to also begin by acknowledging the land we stand and present on today. We acknowledge the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and Métis peoples whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Youth Engagement Awards before we continued on. They are presented annually by the Grande Prairie Youth Advisory Council and the community who helps us nominate to businesses, schools, community agencies, and individuals that illustrate the role community plays in positive youth development in Grande Prairie. As youth and as adults who used to be youth, we know that there tends to be a little bit of stigma, whether if you're walking into a business and they expect you to cause trouble, or if your opinion is just a little bit less respected when you're saying it. So these awards really go out to the businesses, community agencies, individuals that try and do the opposite of that and let youth make their own impact before other stigmas are put on them. So thank you to all the businesses that do that, and I can't wait to award and celebrate who those are. As we move on, we have an amazing youth inspirational speaker with us today, Keisha Mastrodimos. And after hitting a moose in her car and becoming a quadriplegic, Keisha is spreading her story to offer hope, resilience, and inspiration. I'd like to invite her to speak now. And thank you so much for joining us tonight, Keisha.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to pull it up here. Oh, whoops. There we go. So thank you so much for having me. I am going to tell you about my computer, about how my life changed when I was 17 years old and a few of the lessons that I have learned since. First, I want to say that I was just an average person. I grew up in a small town with my family. I played sports like basketball, football, soccer, and rode horses. I lived my life as normally as one did. Though, like most other people, school was not my favorite thing to do or place to be. I did not have a lot of friends, and I was bullied pretty bad. I stayed in the school I was bullied at until I got my license and chose to move away. The negative atmosphere was taking a toll on me and my overall mental health. This is the first example of the message I want to portray. Though you cannot control what happens to you, you can control how you react and deal with it. To reiterate, I couldn't control the bullying that happened to me, but I could control doing something about it, so I chose to move away. This was one of the best decisions I made, though you may not agree by what happened next, but I have learned in life you have to take the good with the bad. From the minute I started at this new school, I knew I made the right choice. I was finally happy. I was also actually enjoying going to school, and I was making a lot of friends. Just as I was settling into my new routine, only a month in, November 26, 2013 began. It started out like any other day before. I got up, got dressed, went to school, came back home, did some homework, and started watching TV. As I was watching TV, I got a text from a lady that I used to babysit for, asking if I could come babysit. Due to the snowy and questionable road conditions, I had a friend come along with me. We babysat until just after midnight and left shortly after that. About 20 minutes down the road, I noticed something emerging from the ditch. Immediately, I slammed on my brakes. Everything went white. All the things that I hadn't done yet in life started flooding my thoughts. I haven't graduated high school. I haven't gone to college. I haven't gotten married. I can't die yet. I can't die yet. I came back to reality with my arms flopping beside my head. I tried to bring them down, but they didn't listen. I tried to move my legs, but they didn't budge. I tried to turn my head, but it didn't move. Next, I tried to ask my friend if she was okay, but all that came out was a whisper. Thankfully, she heard me. She came to my side of the car, unbuckled my seatbelt, and wrapped her arms around me, supporting my neck. As she slowly pulled me out of the car, my foot came off the brakes, and my car rolled into the ditch. At this point, we were both in the middle of the road. My friend said she needed to go back to the car. My friend said that she needed to go back to the car to get her phone to call 911. She had never really been in the area before, so she was going to wander up and down the road to find some indication to tell the dispatchers. As she was doing that, I laid in the road staring at the stars above, repeating to myself, I'm not going to die, I'm not going to die. As I was doing that, I noticed a light approaching in the distance, followed by the sound of an engine. A car was coming. Being in the middle of the road, in the dark, I tried to yell at Brittany, but again, only a whisper came out. There's a car coming and it's not slowing down. I could no longer hear my friend, so I just closed my eyes, fearing the worst. Next thing I knew, I felt the familiar embrace of her arms around me, dragging me to the side of the road. Just as we made it, that car zoomed past us, followed by two more until a semi-truck driver stopped and noticed something was wrong. He barricaded us with his truck so no one could potentially hit us. He kept us calm until the ambulance showed up. When the ambulance showed up, they strapped me to the spinal board and started ripping off my clothes, stabbing me with needles, talking to each other, not talking to me. I asked, "Am I going to die?" No one answered me. So I asked if I could go to sleep, and they said yes. It turned out that we had hit a moose. After going to the hospital and having x-rays done, the doctor concluded that I had broke my neck, and I was to be flown to Edmonton for surgery. The broken neck resulted in me becoming a C5, C6 incomplete quadriplegic, confined to a wheelchair. After the neck surgery, my road to recovery began. Next, I'm going to highlight a few of the milestones that I've accomplished that also shine light on the fact that you are the determiner of how your life is. As I was injured in my senior year of high school, I was so close to graduating. With the mindset of not wanting the accident to take anything else from me, or the thought of not graduating with my good friends, I chose to get on my schoolwork as soon as I could. In fact, the first week I was injured in the ICU, keep in mind, I couldn't even move my arms, let alone my whole body at this point. I kept asking my mom, the nurses, and the doctors to get things in order so I could start doing the homework. I even studied flashcards with my uncle in the ICU. I slowly taught myself to write and type on a computer with my differently functioning hands, and managed to complete the courses from the hospital. Thanks to the help of my family, friends, therapists, and supporters, I successfully completed my grade 12 year and received the diploma. This accomplishment was done within the first year of my injury. In the fall of 2016, only 3 years after the accident, I enrolled and was accepted into college. Currently, I am in my third year of psychology. Thus, with the help of others, the right mindset, and determination, your limitations do not hinder your progress, and the things you can achieve are limitless. In the beginning of my injury, I learned there was a lot more to this life than just not being able to walk. One such side effect was the loss of control of my bowels and bladder, or for the lack of a better word, poop and pee. Sadly and embarrassingly, I came to know this fact abruptly. Within the first week after I was injured, I pooped pants. As I was trying to figure out how I was to deal with the situation at hand, a hot male nurse walked into my room. Remember, at this time, I am a 17-year-old hormone-filled girl. I hoped and prayed he had the wrong room. He didn't. After that point, I figured it could not get any worse than that, so I threw out all my embarrassment. And now, that is where I should have been a little more careful. It got worse. I will share one more embarrassing poop story with you. I was still in the hospital, but this time I was doing physiotherapy with my mom and little brother watching. Close to the end of the session, 4 of my friends showed up to surprise me. We all decided to go for a stroll down a hallway. To give you a quick rundown, this hallway is quite long, is exposed by tons of windows, revealing all of outside, and is usually always crowded with people. That day, unfortunately, was no different, as it was full of people going in both directions at a constant rate. Okay, as we were walking, one of my friends crouched down to my brother and said, "Oh, you stink." Immediately, I knew it wasn't my brother. I turned around, and I kid you not, there was a trail of poop leading up to my wheelchair. I threw the blanket I had with me over my head so people couldn't see me. And as I did that, I could hear people walking by saying, "Oh my gosh, someone just pooped in the hallway." Mom and I rushed upstairs to get cleaned up, and I just remember bawling with her. I wondered how I would ever leave the hospital, how I would ever live in the real world, or even face my friends again. Over time, and I mean a lot of time, I was able to reflect on the story without being sad or embarrassed. And come on, who can say they pooped down a hospital hallway and didn't even have to clean it up? What I have learned from this is people's most embarrassing moments make for great stories. I have learned that everyone has a poop story. It just depends on whether or not they share it publicly. In my experience, sharing my embarrassing stories has laid the foundation to many amazing friendships. There is something to say about vulnerability and the realization that you're not alone. Besides, it is a nice reminder that it could always be worse. In this case, if you have control of your bowels and bladder, be grateful. Sometimes when you choose to laugh at your insecurities and biggest worries, they lose their power over you and they become your assets, pun intended. On a less vulnerable note, the doctors I encountered in the beginning constantly provided me with all the things I was not going to be able to do. Walk, feel or move my body parts from my chest down, drive, work, live independently, and so on. At first, I gave in to his negativity, and I believed he knew more than I about this injury and the life that was ahead of me. But you know what he didn't know? Me. I decided that was not going to be my story, and I would spend the rest of my life proving him wrong. And I did just that. Within the first few months, my body regained some feeling below my chest. Throughout extensive therapy, I was able to recover muscles and movements that I wasn't supposed to. With all these movements and strengths in my body, and thanks again to my family, friends, and support system, I was able to be more independent. This independence enabled me to find a job in the community, learn to drive again, and purchase a wheelchair accessible van. And eventually, I was able to move into a wheelchair accessible apartment on my own. I don't regret the way the doctor brought me down, nor am I angry. Without his negativity, who knows if I would have had the drive or motivation to complete these goals. But with that said, never let anyone tell you that you cannot do something, not even a professional. You are the writer of your own story. Do not let someone else write it for you. When you choose hope and optimism, you always win. You see, I could have given up at any point in my journey when the times got tough, when I was told constantly that I would not be able to do certain things. And I could have wallowed in my own self pity on the days that didn't seem to end, or because of the way I have to get around. But instead, I choose to live every day. I choose to leave the house. I choose to go to work. I choose to go to school. And I choose to do all the things I want to, in spite of the struggles, or the fact that there's a chance I could poop my pants. With this mindset, I have built and surrounded myself with a beautiful, joy filled life. I may not like my life every day, but I assure you, I do most days. And that's enough for me. I hope I have been able to show you how you can change your life. It starts by changing your perspective and choosing to keep going. To summarize and repeat the theme of my message, even though you don't choose what happens to you, you do choose how it affects you. Choose wisely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keisha, for that amazing message. I absolutely love the message about creating your own story and moving on. And I love how hopeful and optimistic you are as a person through everything. Having you here as a guest to speak today I'm just so thankful for you, and you did a great job. Thank you so much. Now we will be moving on to the awards portion of the event. So I'm just waiting for that to get there. So we will be starting with our Youth Employer of Choice Award, which recognizes a business or organization who makes an effort to employ youth and young adults as part of its staffing model, maintains a healthy and safe work environment, and provides ongoing support and leadership for all employees, and operates within the city of Grande Prairie. The winner for this award is Tire Pro. So Abe, the manager at Tire Pro, employs young adults and treats them with respect. This inclusion of youth in the workplace has helped reduce the stigma that young people are incompetent of having professional jobs. Congratulations, and thank you so much, Abe, for doing that in our community and helping reduce those stigmas. I also just wanted to mention, if anyone follows Abe on Facebook or any of his other social medias, he does a great job of supporting local businesses, which you may have realized, youth businesses and other businesses, sharing their foods and etc. So I also wanted to thank him for that today. We'll move on to the next award now, which is for community engagement, which recognizes a junior or senior high school or community youth agency which promotes and takes strides to develop a positive youth culture and embraces community connectedness, works closely with the community to deliver unique and innovative educational or social and healthy opportunities to youth, and operates within the city of Grande Prairie. Schools must belong to GPPSD, GPCSD, or PWSD. And the agency must offer direct services and supports to teenagers living in the city of Grande Prairie. The winner for the Community Engagement Award is the Grande Prairie Public Library. The Grande Prairie Public Library was nominated for their program Project Full Stop, which offers all patrons, staff, and volunteers free menstrual products. Sorry, sometimes talking is hard. This project has inspired other local youth organizations to look at how they can break down barriers around period poverty, and the Grande Prairie Public Library is one of the first, and I think the first in Grande Prairie to offer such a cool thing. and really supportive. Congratulations. Moving on to our next award category, we have the Youth Friendly Business Award, which recognizes a business, service, or corporation that values youth as a client or patron, treats youth equal to other customers accessing the nominated business, service, or corporation, and also operates within the city of Grande Prairie. The winner for this award is the Eastlink Center. The Eastlink Center is a great hub for equality and has inspired other community centers to also promote change and equality all across the city of Grande Prairie. They do this with their many youth programs within their facilities and allowing youth, especially the ones near the high school, or especially the high schools youth during non-COVID years, to go in and be able to sit and hang out there around school hours. Thank you, Eastlink Center. And for our last award, we have the Youth Mentor of Choice, which recognizes individuals dedicated to mentoring youth in the community. The winner for this award is Taipanga Evans. Taipanga is the educator and LGBTQ2S+ youth mentor with Northreach Society. Taipanga inspires youth, volunteers, and colleagues to learn about their health, harm reduction, sexuality, and gender identity while promoting inclusion within the community. This is definitely an important role to play, especially with youth who may have more challenges, and offers a great supportive group for them to go to. So thank you so much. That ties up the awards for the night, and I wanted to thank everyone who came to see and support. Your support really is welcomed, even if when you're watching from the YouTube live stream, or if you're watching later on the recorded version. I really want to thank you guys all for supporting these businesses, and anyone who put in nominations for these events, and all of the businesses, organizations, individuals that did win these awards. You guys do it, create such a great impact on Grande Prairie. So thank you so much for that. I also really wanted to thank Keisha for giving a great speech, showing up here tonight, and really giving more to this event. It was great to hear from you, and that story was so inspirational. Also, my other Youth Advisory Council members and the Grande Prairie Youth Advisory Council who helped put together, or who did put together this event. We do it annually, so please look forward to it next year. And and just look into the Grande Prairie Youth Advisory Council. We have social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, which you can follow to follow us along and see the impact we are trying to make in our city as youth. You can also put in nominations if you are a youth watcher who's interested in joining. Contact us for any inquiries about that. And lastly, again, thank you to the winners for this year's award. You guys create that great, sorry, words are so hard. But thank you guys for the impact you put in our community. It wouldn't be the same without you, and youth greatly value you. Thank you everyone so much for joining us here tonight.